What's going on, everybody? What's going on, world? This is the Let's Grow Together podcast. This is your host, Cody Cotton. I have along with me
Chuck Carter,
Josh Easter, call me East.
and that's what we'll be calling him for the remainder of the podcast. So, guys, you're wondering, who are you listening to? Why are we here? No, what is this podcast about? So, this podcast, not just the podcast, but the whole Let's Grow Together movement.
yes, the
Whether we're
whole
talking
brand.
about the whole brand.
Yes,
Whether we talking about Facebook, community service events, the mission and merch,
yes,
the
sir.
podcast, the individual learning groups, everything we have.
I work in schools.
Our work in schools,
Yes, the whole thing.
the whole thing. This podcast for people who have a strong, genuine desire to grow, serve, and connect in areas that they're most passionate about. From clarity of self to the clarity of success, we're literally building a global community of people growing together.
It will cover finances, relationships, health. Health is wealth. Your professional development, family, the whole nine. We will cover the gamut. We want a triple-double lifestyle. We're on a mission to create triple-double lifestyles for ourselves where we have happiness, health, and wealth in every area of our lives. So that's what the Let's Grow Together movement is about.
Literally building holistic self-awareness.
For real, telling our story.
Yes.
What we did to get there, how we get in there.
Shortening the learning curve.
You trying to get there, bro?
Always trying to get there. So we got
Absolutely.
Shout out to Fudge, man.
Shout out to Bud.
Shout out to Rapid Fitness, man. So we're just gonna move through it, and as you guys know, this is episode 0, so we won't be able to get into all the heavy meat, but this is just to give people awareness of who they're listening to, who we are,
Talk to the people,
and a little
bro.
bit of and a little bit of our story. So I have to let you know this merch, the Greater Good Foundation. Shout out the foundation.
Yes.
So real quick, man, we already talked about the setup of the show, what we're gonna talk about and everything. We're gonna have this thing be brought up into segments, right? So mini segments. Anytime we hit a mini segment, the first mini segment starting off will always be culture shifting.
Culture shifting.
Always culture shifting. Can we get a Drake shift the culture? Drop his voice in the background on that. Drop that joint. So like we said, it's people who come together to serve, connect, or grow. So we're going to be shouting out the Let's Grow Together Facebook group. We have people literally from all over different countries in there, whether they're growing in science, whether they're growing in finances, whether they're growing in their faith. So we're going to make sure that we're always going to give that shout out. And then in between any of the other mini segments, it's going to be random. We're going to be picking from a hat. It's going to either be humble bragging, life hacks, left lane vibes, increase east. We're going to explain everything as we get to it. But guys, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to have, we're just going to be natural about it.
What's the mini segment for the day, broski?
So the mini segment for the day is just culture shifting. Eventually, when we get through it, we're gonna pick in the hat when it get to it, get to that time. And then the last one is again culture shifting. We're gonna have Chuck lead you guys with a book for the month. We're just gonna dive in, not for the week, because it's not about reading a book really fast. That's not how you get there. We don't read something to know. We read something to do.
Yeah, right.
Drop the gold card.
Got the gold card. So man, next. Real quick, just to talk about who we are. It wouldn't be complete if we don't talk about, not necessarily our upbringing. We're going to get into that. That's going to be like the X-Men origins. But we want to talk about the foundation, what we do, who we are in terms of an organization, why is this work important to us. But, we want to ask some quality questions because we need some quality answers. So, Chuck, man, you mind taking that away for us?
Absolutely. We're not going to do the origin story. So I'm one of the original co-founders of a Greater Good Foundation. I'm the active president and chief executive officer. Man, why is this work important to me? I was one of the youth who needed guidance, who needed, mentorship. I was, one of those young kids who had the potential to be absolutely great or menace to society. And by the grace of God, I had a support system that believed in me, that continued to pour into me. I had some coaches that saw my light, and going into high school, it clicked. I got it. So I'm a direct beneficiary of people who saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. And once I started to believe in that, my entire life changed. So that's why I'm passionate about what we do. That's why I'm committed to this for a long haul. I know I know the role that it played in my life and my brothers, the guys that I spend the most time with. We're all examples of it. So this mission is near and dear to my heart.
So speaking on mission, like what do we do? What's the foundation?
First, I say one of them.
Okay.
We mentor young people across the Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana on building a more holistic lifestyle for themselves, gaining self-awareness. We mentor through nutrition, unique experiences, personal development, which is the foundation of all that we do. And I'm forgetting one, community service and community service. So one of the many things that we do is we mentor young people across Chicago and Northwest Indiana and becoming the best version of themselves.
Yeah, talking about quality questions, we do it restoratively. Shout out to Stephen Jackson.
Shout out.
Great mentor of ours. But restorative practices is a great framework that we use to build community, to build perspective, to really learn more about each other. The concept is you're less likely to harm somebody that you really know. So just getting to know the people
or
understand, yeah, for real, and building common values and perspective is everything.
So I love that you said that. It's a couple of things. I feel like I could piggyback multiple times, right? First, talking about the pillars of the foundation, right? Yeah. But even when we're talking about restorative and a framework, East did something that was really unique. We call him Increase East for a reason, right? So he shouted out one of our mentors. Mentors are extremely important in this game of life. Yep. Whether you're studying finances, whether you're studying relationships, you want to find somebody who have what you want in that area of your life. And chances are, if you do exactly what they tell you to do and you listen to them, chances are 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, if you have a high teachability index, you're going to get what that person have. So the great thing about that is, look at the time we're in right now. We're in the information age. Right. Overload of information. Nobody's struggling trying to find information. You could go on Bing, or you could go on Google. If you go on Bing, feel free to put in a Greater Good Foundation. Every search you have, they donate money to our foundation. Shout out to Microsoft. Shout out to the guys at Duke. Shout out to the alphas at Duke, man. Appreciate you guys. Much, much love. But getting back to the point, being able to have a mentor in the information age is very, very crucial because it's not a lack of knowledge or information, but it's being able to help somebody guide you step by step to get there.
And context.
Mm-hmm. Reverse engineer.
Because the information is abundant. There's no end to it. If you search just about anything, any question, any statement, you'll get thousands and thousands and thousands of search results. Yeah. But being able to apply that to your specific situation, to your specific circumstance, that's the context that a mentor, someone who has what you have, can do to your life. Shortening your mistakes, shortening the time you spend searching, looking, shortening the learning curve, as we call it, tenfold. So finding a mentor that has what you have, and I want to emphasize this part of what Cody said, in a specific area of your life. Yeah. Because someone has accumulated a mass amount of wealth doesn't mean they're happy. It doesn't mean they're healthy. It doesn't mean that they have sustainable relationships in their life. Yep. It's very important that we learn to compartmentalize where they're successful and where to take their advice.
So you just gonna whop like that, huh? So he just had to whop right there. Thank you. He had to whop like that. So man, to jump right back to it, to like you said, restorative, having an opportunity to build perspective, understanding, community, in a safe space, and you get a chance to understand people, right? If you look at that, that's the framework we do almost everything in. But when we go back to our pillars, I want to touch on the pillars because having personal development, unique experiences and exposure, service, and nutrition. I'm going to let you guys, which one calling to you guys, man? Take one.
Man, exposure is the one I'm going to take, man. Okay. I love all of them, but the ability to share experiences with the youth has really changed our lives and changed the lives of the youth. We were able to go to Canada. My first time leaving the country, man. That was just a blessing.
Hey man, story time. Story time. hey, yeah, shout out. Hey, story time. Throw that in there.
Stories is restorative as well. Being able to tell our stories lets you know a little bit more about me.
They say that facts tell, stories sell.
Yeah. And Les Brown say, never tell a point without a story, never tell a story without a point.
Right. Mecca Elementary, shout out Mecca and Bellwood, man.
Shout out.
First school that allowed us to come in, teach our curriculum, and really get our feet wet, man, pour into the young people every day. every time we came, all the kids had to bring their gold cards, bring their thankful list, and we said if they did it daily, we would take them on a trip. And we had to live up to it. I mean, our word is everything. You know, you're nothing without your word. So at a, it was an awards assembly.
Right.
Yeah, we hadn't discussed it, but man, we said, man, we taking a trip. We say we leaving the country.
We leaving the country. You had half of the crowd excited, like, oh my God. The other crowd, like, what these grown men taking our babies?
And we just looking at each other like, all right, now, like, we said it. Now we got to execute, man.
So we didn't know. To create a clear picture about what East is saying, we didn't plan on announcing this at this assembly. It was the kids' graduation. And they brought us on stage. We had told some of the staff what we were doing. They brought us on stage to announce it to the students. But we were actually truthfully, we were having some reservations.
Right.
We were thinking about making a slight
detour.
Maybe Wisconsin deals, you know what I'm saying? Six Flags, pick up Subway sandwiches.
We were thinking of Cedar Point.
Cedar Point, right.
We were thinking about Cedar Point as opposed to going out of the country. So, and mind you, we were literally sitting at a banquet table just like this. And we were having this conversation.
Literally at the same time.
At the same time. And then within seconds, they called us.
I'm tapping like, yo. They called us. Yo, game time. Yo, focus. A straight line.
And they called us up to the stage to announce it. So we ended up having forced pressure. We call it forced growth. We ended up having to announce to the students and their families and the staff that we were taking the kids to Niagara Falls. We didn't have the money. We didn't know the logistics.
We didn't have a bus yet.
We didn't have a bus.
We didn't have the liability covered yet.
But sure enough, to get back to the point of exposure, we made the commitment. We made it happen. We took 14 students, 6 adults, not including our staff, for 4 days and 3 nights to Niagara Falls, Canada. All the expense paid. All they had to do was show up. Get their passports. That was it. And we say that, throwing it back to you, East, with exposure, a child can't be what a child can't see.
I was just going to say that, man. Like, say it one more time. If it's anything you hear, not just a child, but adults. A person.
Mm-hmm. And for them to be able to see us doing it, young black men, taking people that come from the same situation, similar circumstance, and being able to share that experience with them, and be able to show gratitude and love and light, and show how we treat each other, how we vibe together, and how we just love. Anytime you come around, people always like, man, the vibe is just different. It's just love. So just modeling that behavior to our youth and doing it while going to Niagara Falls, going to the Fogo de Chao, going to the Big Ten Network. Man, the list goes on and on. I'm not going to say all of it today.
Right, all-star game, man. Shout out to Social Works, man.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to Champ Kelly, Champ Camp, Proviso East, man. The school, another early school we started at. We got to do a football camp where all the Bears rookies came out. So we
have a lot of people to thank.
Many people to thank.
This will be a thing for what we do. We call it increase. You know what I mean? Spreading, sending love, energy, and appreciation to the people who have helped us get here and continue to get wherever we're going in life. So, excuse us if we showing a lot of love.
It's always this podcast, you might as well name this a love. There's gonna be a lot of love and light all on this podcast, man. So exposure. Go
ahead, bro.
I'm on exposure. I'm looking at it. We're not gonna get through everything. It's cool because I'm about to say, even with this exposure, like, you really have to understand, like, it is so important because when you change your perspective on the world and you see more, it's not just a child could be more. Like, no, you literally change your perspective on who you are, your self-image, your identity. And it's as above, so below. It's the same thing. When you change your beliefs on yourself, you're able to change your belief upon the world, reality, and what's possible. So that's why the exposure piece, that's why we put so much money in exposure. Like you just said, so much time to the curriculum we put together for Fogo de Chao, Big Ten Network. You name it.
Healthy, positive families and relationships. There's so many aspects of exposure.
Right.
You know what I mean? Exposing a person to what unconditional love looks like, exposing a person to what academic success looks like, exposing a person to what taking
Shout out
care,
Northwestern.
right? Exposing a person to what taking care of their body looks like, and truly caring what you're putting in, information wise and nutritionally. There's so many layers to exposure that we wrap up into exposure. It's not just taking young people to a college campus or taking them to fine dining or out the country. It's who they're exposed to when they're in those environments that also play a role in how they view the rest of their life. When they see people interact in a specific way, lovingly, enthusiastically, supportively, that may be different for what we used to. You know what I mean? And some of the communities that we come up in. So
Super 100. Okay.
there's a lot of layers to exposure that we attempt to accomplish.
Bro, y'all good at this podcast, bro. Y'all super.
We've been waiting for this.
Hey, bro, I can't tell y'all how many first episodes we shot over the time. I won't tell y'all. I had to get a different feeling going into this podcast. I can't even name it episode 1. I got to start with episode 0.
Put it this way. We have, if you go to some of our pages, we have hashtag Let's Grow Together on posts from more than 2 years ago.
Literally,
This was supposed to start.
Yeah, we're supposed to start this. We're supposed to start this way before we even bought the house. Before we bought this estate we're in right now. This beautiful 5,000 square foot on 1.2 acres of land. Okay, about that. Okay,
we'll give y'all the tour later.
We're gonna give you a tour later. It's beautiful, man, but it's a house for our young men.
If we want to get through the pillars, I think we should get through the pillars.
We're gonna get through the pillars. We're gonna get through the pillars. How we look on this? Okay, because we want to allow the people to be able to move about their day.
Right.
We can't be doing no over our podcast unless we got some guests on the show, or unless we just really diving into the meat of it. So let's get into it, man. The next one,
Take personal development.
Okay. Next, personal development. Reading, learning, studying.
Yes.
Studying and learning more about self.
Yes.
Right? And within return, at the same time, like we say, as above, so below, when you learn more about self, you also learn more about God.
Yeah.
That's
Right? And I'm just being honest, right? Because you look at it, right? I've always heard growing up, and I'm really advocating my faith of being able to say that God is in all places, all things, all times, whether you say God, Allah, source, universe, whatever you want to consider it to be. So if he's in all places, all time, and I apologize for even saying he, because most often I usually say she, right? Because we say if anything, it's more so divine as woman to be image of God. But not to get off into all the logistics, but when you're saying that God is in all places, all time, it's hard for me to imagine that and not imagine God is inside me.
Right.
So the more I learn about self, I'm able to see the reflections and see the commonalities of what God is like.
Say that one more time, bro.
The more I study self, I'm able to see the commonalities and I'm able to see the reflections of what God looked like. Because we were created in his image.
Yeah.
Not just physically, not just mentally, but spiritually as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's why I love studying self. Not only just studying self, but we learn more about yourself, learn more about others.
Yeah.
You figure out like, we really not that much different. We're unique in ourselves, but personal development always got to be the top, man. Leaders are readers and readers are leaders, man. That's just a lifestyle. That's why it's Let's Grow Together, man. You got to self-assess and grow every single day.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I loved about reading initially, it wasn't even personal development. It was just reading. It was like those nonfiction. Well, some of them be fiction, but they were based on like real stories, real circumstance. Walter D. Myers was like my favorite author growing up.
What do you write?
He wrote a lot of books, but he wrote books about young inner city stories, but they weren't real. They weren't real people, but you can relate to them.
Okay.
One of the things that we love about personal development and that I hold near and dear is that when you read, it gives you an opportunity to take the wisdom and the life experiences of someone else and apply them to your life. Mm-hmm. It also gives you the ability to gain perspective without having gone through that circumstance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gives us an opportunity when you read somebody else's story. It doesn't even have to be a real story. When you read a story, and you assess it and you filter out, you can still learn things from it. You can still take things from it without ever having gone through that situation. And then when that situation occurs, you have fuel or ammo, or you have the tools that that book or that lesson has equipped you with. Just because you've expanded your mind to the point of beyond your current situation.
I'm gonna throw something in there, right? I'm gonna throw it in there. The reason why that's so high, because even when you're looking at reading opposed to observing and watching a video, there's different neural pathways that are developed when it comes down.
Yeah.
How to the faculties?
It's just different.
Yes.
You're able to lay down that roadmap, that bridge, and the wires in your brain a lot more strong, a lot more fine than where you're reading opposed to observing a video.
Yep.
Not only that, when you're watching a video, because, I love listening to audio. I love listening to YouTube videos, the whole nine. But when you're watching a video, it's vibrating at a faster frequency. Sometimes you need to just do things that are at a slower frequency, like reading. It's easier to get to alpha frequency and the alpha brain waves when we're just reading and bringing in knowledge. And definitely if you're listening to some classical music, man, listen to KT talking about throwing on some Baroque music so you could balance the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Like, we not even on a mini segment of life hacks, and I'm out here dropping keys, okay? I'm just saying.
Really is.
But seriously though, guys, it's like we said before, it's access and it's an overabundance of information out here, but it's like, who's your mentor? Who are you listening to? Who are you getting that information from? Are you actually doing what you know you're supposed to do?
I feel like East has some.
Man, just on the personal development, man, the curriculum that we've been able to build, the how much we studied, how much we read,
how many curriculums we built, bro?
I can't tell you.
Right.
But man, we have a curriculum for pretty much every situation, whether it's working with overachievers, whether it's working with alternative youth, whether it's working with athletes. But the studying that we've done has allowed us to create curriculum and content for whatever we need, whether it's motivation, whether it's inspiration, whether it's just pulling out a little more out of somebody, getting the most out of somebody. But the personal development, the studying has allowed us to build this organization because, man, we become hungry with studying and learning and growing together. So that's why let's grow together.
We got curriculums like 2K players. Create your players.
Bro, yeah. Curriculums.
Google Docs is crazy.
You know me?
Google Docs go crazy. Oh man. Y'all gotta hit another pillar. We got two more pillars to go.
I hit the first, you hit the second.
Yeah.
Nutrition. We can run nutrition.
Yeah.
So we definitely nutrition, right?
Yeah.
Nutrition is a silver lining for us. It's it's the cheat code because as a society, it's growing more and more important. But in the communities that we do the most work in, it's not something that's emphasized enough.
Food deserts.
And as we like to say, we're asking young people to go in the classroom and self-actualize and tap into their potential and withstand stresses of the world at a heightened rate, but we're not giving them anything nutritionally, whether that be mentally or physically,
That's real.
that allow them to do that. When you have young people coming to school on juices, hot Cheeto, flaming hot.
Is that real food?
No, that's we need to go get there. Fruity.
Okay. We ain't gonna get there right now, but we're gonna get there eventually.
But we grow and learn as adults that food plays a huge role in our ability to sleep, in our alertness, in our ability to focus. It plays a role in how we mitigate stress, how we assess situations. It plays a huge role in how we process information.
So you gonna keep walking, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we use nutrition as a pillar because although it's not focused in on a mass level in our community, within our culture, we want it to be apparent that health is one of our pillars. Health and mind and body.
Yeah.
So it's huge for us.
Man, I just think about it right away, like you just said. It's not just what we're consuming physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. So if you're looking at the whole spectrum, right, everything is energy.
Right.
And we're gonna dive into this later, man. Yeah, it's like I almost open up a whole can of words.
Right.
We're gonna dive into this later, man. But when you think about energy, you want to be conscious of the energy you're putting in your body.
There's high vibrations and there's low vibrations.
Yeah.
So stay tuned.
Stay in tune. We vibrate at a fast
We're gonna get real
frequency.
deep
So you
into
need
it,
to put
right.
foods in your body that vibrate at a fast frequency.
Don't have walk the life.
As well as mentally and spiritually, man. Get there, East.
Wrap it up with community service, man.
Ooh, serve.
I mean, we're a nonprofit organization. The
501c3 certified, you were
Man.
wondering.
this service thing has changed our lives, man, and just pouring into people has brought so many blessings, man. So one thing we just wanted to show is that you can give more than just money. You can give your time, you can give your effort, you can give your talents, right? Whatever you've been blessed with, but people think that I can't give until I make it, but that's false. Because a lot of times people don't make it because they don't give. People don't make it because they are selfish and they're trying to cheat others. But we wanted to show each other that, man, we're going to come together, we're going to serve, and we're going to do it with a great attitude, man. Like, we're going to play music, we're going to laugh, we're going to joke, and we're going to connect. So that's why service meets connections, man.
Man, it's good. You ever be with your guys and they pull something out the bag that you ain't never heard before? That's constant studying, constant learning, constant growth. That was hot.
Appreciate you, bro.
That's real.
That joint hot. That joint hot.
Super real. So service is everything that Josh just said.
So guys, we got off into the meat of it. We're going to a little mini segment, take a little small little break, dissect. By the way, we didn't get there the right way. We missed something. And guys, listeners, please make sure you hold us accountable to this in the comments. But before we do anything in our mentoring program, before we start our day, we always either we're praying or meditating. And most times we like to do both. But definitely before a mentor session, we like to take 3 deep breaths because breathing is so important. You know, we started this world off with breath. We end this world with breath. So in between, it is important to pay attention to the interim. Not only that, something I love that Chuck always say, most of the times our stresses are in the future, something that hasn't happened yet, or in the past, something that we already been through. So breathing allows us to bring all our attention, all our awareness right now here in the present. And I think that is extremely powerful. So eventually we will do that, but for the mini segments, culture shifting is always going to be the first one. Culture shifting. We just want to shout out Let's Grow Together community on Facebook. We want to shout out people who serve and connect and are growing areas they're most passionate about. But for right now, we going to pull out the hat for this mini segment, okay? What we got? What you got, Chuck?
Left lane vibes.
Left lane vibes. Left lane vibes. Okay. So left lane vibes. When we're talking about, you're going to hear us say this a lot, THYGT. That's how you get there. When you're trying to get there, you're like, where's there? There's your goal. But the key in order to get there to your goal, you have to be understanding where you're at right now. That takes self-awareness. That takes quality questions. That takes restorative practices. So in order for us to have left lane vibes, the reason why it's called left lane vibes, because anytime you're trying to get there to your goal, when you're on the expressway, you drive in the left lane when you want to get there fast.
Right.
So the left lane vibe, man, we got to give a tip about how to get there to your goal faster. So right away, what I'm just thinking about always is where attention goes, energy flows. Right. Where attention goes, energy flows. So the reason why we keep this goal card with us because a lot of people and this, I feel like I'm always getting too critical when it comes down to this information. But we're in a 3-dimensional reality, right? Time is really relevant to us right now. But when it comes down to the law of gestation, basically saying that it takes an incubation period to manifest anything from things to go to thoughts into reality. Most people think it takes a certain amount of time. Like we know it takes 9 to 10 months for a baby to get here normally, right? But when it comes down to manifesting goals, it's not a time thing. It's a focus thing. It's an energy thing. It's an attention thing. So a left lane vibe, a tip to help you get there closer to your goal is, how often are you thinking about your goal? We're not the mentors that know everything. We're not the gurus. We're life learners.
We're growing with y'all.
We're growing with y'all.
Learning.
That's all. Perpetually learning. We're just growing with you guys. So our thing is, if we're going to grow, why not do it together? If we're going to serve, why not do it together? So within this recap, the last thing, boom, 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 boom. Let me stop. Straight line. The last thing. The last thing, what can you expect from us moving forward? Guys,
Life or podcast?
for the podcast. Lord have mercy. That's a lot, right? So just in terms of shout outs, like we didn't really get a chance to shout out our sponsors, but shout out North America Urban Spice, shout out World Visions. We've always been blessed. We continue to get blessed. So as a nonprofit, we're always able to bless other people, other communities. So what you could be looking forward to, man, tune into the podcast. We will be giving things away. Not just intellectual things, but physical things as well. So man, opportunities, exposure. Things come so often, and we would love to pour back into you guys. So what you can do, tune in for our next podcast episode.
Where can they find us?
They can find us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, A Greater Good Foundation.
Don't forget the A.
A Greater Good Foundation. Hashtag Let's Grow Together. So you're going to be able to find us on Spotify, iTunes, all the above. We're getting everything set up right now.
As hashtag
Let's Grow Together. Hashtag Let's Grow Together will be the podcast. You guys can hear everything. So, guys, that's it for me. What else, man? If you guys get a chance, man, let us know. Leave a review.
Give a review. Subscribe. We will be releasing this. We still determining the day, but we thinking Mondays.
Yeah, and ask us questions.
Mondays, Thursdays. We're not sure. We'll figure it out. And we will be answering questions.
Leave questions. Y'all got a segment that y'all want us to, not segment, you want a topic y'all want us to include. Let us know.
Leave it in the Let's Grow Together Facebook group for Topic Tuesdays. We're going to dive into it.
And we'll be bringing on guests too, so different types of guests y'all are interested in, let us know.
So guys, appreciate you guys have anything else?
Nope.
Much love and light. Remember, vibrate high, my good people. Stay in an attitude of gratitude and expect amazing things. And at the end of the day, we're all just trying to grow together.